Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about, is having multiple medical coding credentials really worth it? If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. I've been getting this question a lot lately. Blue, should I get certified through both medical coding associations? There's AHIMA, the American Health Information Management Association, and AAPC, the American Academy of Professional Coders. Or will having multiple credentials get me more money? Or what other credentials should I get in addition to my credentials so that I look more attractive to a potential employer? Here's the deal, guys. When you're looking for jobs as a medical coder, oftentimes you're looking at these ads, they're asking for the candidate to have one credential. And when it comes to these specialty credentials, sometimes they're being asked for, but not always. So a lot of times you have to think about what you're adding on. If you're trying to add on so that you have this nice alphabet after your name, because there are people who have nice alphabets, and you see a lot of education and you see a lot of their skills highlighted. But again, it depends on what other credentials they're adding. Credentials like the CRC, the CPB, the CRC is a Certified Risk Adjustment Coder, right? You don't have to be certified to be a risk adjustment coder. You can look at the risk adjustment coding listings, job listings, and oftentimes they're not even looking for you to have a credential at all. Okay, so that is one thing to consider there. The CPB is a Certified Professional Biller, and both of these are with AAPC. And the Certified Professional Biller, you don't even have to be certified to be a biller. There's also the CBCS, which is a Certified Billing and Coding Specialist. Again, you don't have to be certified to be a medical biller. You can look in the job postings like on Indeed, or you can check out the playlist that I have for the job listing reviews that I've done. And when they're talking about medical billers, they're saying that really they want them to have experience. They almost never, I have never seen one ask for a credential for billing, okay? Because this is something that they train on the job, typically, okay? So that is something to think about. When you're investing in getting additional credentials, some of them are great, right? But you want to make sure that you're not being redundant with what you're saying. If you're trying to get certified with both associations, think about this. If you're getting the CCA, which is a Certified Coding Associate, and that is with the American Health Information Management Association, and then you decide to also get the CPC, which is a Certified Professional Coder, which is also with AAPC, you're saying essentially the same thing, right? Because with the CCA, you have to know both inpatient and outpatient coding, okay? With the CPC, you have to know outpatient coding. So you have two credentials that are they both cover outpatient coding. So that is something to think about. Like when you're investing all of this money, it's more money to maintain additional credentials when all you need is just one credential. And I have known many coders who are successful their entire careers with just one credential. Having multiple credentials is not really going to make you stand out. I mean, it will, but what really makes a coder stand out is their accuracy and their production. What are you producing in a day and how accurate are you? If you are displaying the talent of being able to raise a clinic's revenue because you are thoroughly looking at these encounters and you're making sure that codes are being accurately picked up and the providers are communicating with you and staying educated on all of the changes and everything that comes down every single year with coding, that is what you want to do. Those are the skills that you want to highlight. If I'm an employer hiring and I see somebody with a bunch of credentials, I'm going to look and understand what each of those credentials are. And if I see somebody that looks like they're just adding a bunch of credentials just so that it can look impressive, I'm not going to pay more attention to that person versus somebody who has only one credential and has an impressive resume of all the things that they've accomplished with having just one credential. At the end of the day, you guys have to understand that health information management is a business. This is an industry that is worth millions and millions of dollars. So they have to be able to keep this money coming in with the people that are doing this. So with all of these schools that are out there, and even with the associations themselves and having all of these additional credentials, think about that. This is something that is making more money. And is it really being helpful for employment purposes? No, because a lot of times, like just take for example, the CDIP, the Clinical Documentation Improvement Practitioner. This is a very good credential to have. However, anybody can do clinical documentation improvement. If you are a very good high caliber medical coder, which is what I'm always harping about on my channel, you are going to be able to help your provider and understand the things that the details, and when you're doing queries, you're going to do them appropriately, and you're going to help your provider to understand that these details need to be there, and all of these the things that they're doing, it needs to reflect in the documentation. Anybody can do that. Just because it's not your job title does not mean that you do not do that, because it is our duty as medical coders to make sure that these providers are informed. So don't ever let that stop you, right? From going above and beyond, because that is part of our job, is to go above and beyond. Well, I don't get paid extra for that. No, but you have to understand that when you're working with patient information and these things go off to a billing company, you want to make sure that the provider is getting paid appropriately and the patient is not being overcharged or undercharged. So these are the details that happen in the process of being a medical coder. You don't have to have additional credentials for you to say that you can do this. So that is something else to consider. If you have a degree, RHIA or an RHIT, the employers will often say that if they are looking for an RHIA, which is a Registered Health Information Administrator, and that is a bachelor's degree offered with the American Health Information Management Association, or if you have an RHIT, the Registered Health Information Technician, that is the associate's degree, also offered with the American Health Information Management Association, they will ask most times for those candidates to have an additional medical coding credential along with their degree designations, because of the simple fact that when you have a degree designation, the coding part is not emphasized. With the RHIT, it is, but with the RHIA, it's not so much. The RHIAs and the RHITs are meant to be at the manager's table, right? So the RHIAs are usually on the executive floor. The RHITs are usually the ones that are doing the education with the providers, or they're educating the coders, or they're doing the auditing and things like that. So their emphasis is not in the day-to-day of medical coding. That's why a lot of employers will ask them to have an additional credential like the CCS, which is a Certified Coding Specialist. And that one credential says that you can code both inpatient and outpatient. Now, if you are with AAPC, the CPC is for the outpatient side of the house. If you wanted to code for the inpatient side and you want to get the credential for that, that's the CIC, the Certified Inpatient Coder. So that would make sense. That would make sense to have those two credentials, because it's saying that you can code both inpatient, outpatient, and inpatient. That makes sense. But if, let's just say that you have the CCS, right? Already, that one credential says that you can code both inpatient and outpatient, and you decide to get the CPC and the CIC. You have redundant credentials. That's an example of redundant credentials, because that CCS already says that you can code both inpatient and outpatient. And then you're going to add on the fact that you have a CPC, which is outpatient, and then you have the CIC, which is inpatient. So again, it's just an example. I know that there's people out there like that. And for whatever reason, sometimes people start with AAPC and then they go over to AHIMA. It just depends. So it's understandable how that can happen. But I'm just saying that if you have the CCS, it really doesn't make sense to add on the CPC and the CIC, because that one credential already says that you can do that, both in one credential. And think about it. 2 credentials, more continuing education units. 1 credential, less continuing education units. that is something to think about, because you can be spending lots and lots of money to have an impressive alphabet after your name, but really, what good is it going to get you? Is it going to get you more money? Sometimes no, but most oftentimes no, because when an employer is looking for a candidate, they are really looking for one credential. And again, it depends on what you're doing. But that is just my advice. And I know I'm going to get a few dislikes on there. Really, there's nothing that I can do about that. But I'm just telling you guys that if you have the desire to get these other credentials, just make sure that you understand what you're adding on. I'm trying to help you guys to not have to spend so much money when you don't have to. Because again, there are successful coders who go their entire careers with just one credential. I've seen CCAs do it. I've seen CCSPs do it. I have seen CCSs do it. And I have seen CPCs do it. One credential, and that's it. And they don't have any other credentials, but they have their high caliber medical coder status. They're very detailed. They have helped clinics. They have made sure that the coding is accurate as possible. That's where your concentration should be, not in trying to collect a bunch of other credentials that are sort of redundant. Again, if it is something that is special and a special designation like the CDIP, that makes sense because that is still showing that special designation. But again, you don't have to be certified in that in order to do that, right? So again, a high caliber coder will be doing that anyway, regardless. And as for billing, you don't have to be certified to be a biller, guys. And I'm going to keep saying that too, because that is just extra money for the association. Think about that. Because when you're looking at these job postings for billers, are they asking for the biller to be certified? No. But that's just my advice. And I mean, I tell you guys these things because there's a lot of self-serving information out there. And sometimes when people are trying to sell these things, that's why there's this self-serving information out there. I don't have a dog in this fight. Whether you have one credential or 5 credentials, it really doesn't matter to me. I'm here to help medical coders and billers. But I'm here to help because that's what I do, because I'm a medical coder. I work 40 hours a week. I come home, I do these videos for you guys to help you. And not only that, I have my Patreon channel. And not only that, I do tutoring as well. So I focus on helping others to know and to learn about the industry. So that is why I'm sharing all of this information with you guys. So again, I hope you, take a little bit more time to make sure that you know what you're adding on and if it is actually worth it to you. If your employer is paying for you to do that, by all means, take advantage of that. Go ahead and get that additional credential if your employer is paying for it. But if it's coming out of your pocket, think about it long and hard before you do it. And that's just my advice. I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. So I hope you'll join me on tomorrow's episode. And not only that, I hope you're enjoying Vlogmas. My motivational Vlogmas is going on for the next 24 days. And that premieres at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time every day for the next 24 days. So anyway, I will wrap this one up. If you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider, or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye!